All right. I figured I'd make a detailed version of the OEM tool cart review, and I'm gonna go over tools that you need to do proper mechanic work and to get the job done fast. And this is gonna be pretty much tools that you absolutely need, not just a bunch of random extra crap that people. I notice a lot of mechanics will buy tools that they don't need and duplicate tools they don't need and stuff that they'll pretty much never use or that you could use another tool instead. And they just get into this mode where they spend way too much money on stuff and they get themselves into debt for no reason when you can get stuff way cheaper that's just as good. So I'm going to start off at the top. Oh yeah, by the way, this is the OEM's Tools tool cart. It's 40 inches wide, I believe, by 40 inches tall. 6 drawers, $499, and it's really good quality. So if you're looking at OEM Tools, definitely suggest getting it. All right, the most used thing you're gonna use is gonna be your 3/8 deep sockets and shallow. Then I would say your 1/4 inch. For heavier suspension stuff, you're gonna use your 1/2 inch, and then I got 1/2 inch 12 points, which come in really handy. Extensions are a must, along with safety glasses. The wobble head extensions are definitely a must. They give you that extra angle that you're going to need. And these are Pittsburgh from Harbor Freight, and I really like them. They're chrome vanadium. They're strong, and they never let me down. And I think you get like a 9-piece set for $15, so can't complain. I've also got a bunch of random extensions I got for super cheap. I actually got for free at a house I used to live in. There was a shed in the back, and someone left a bunch of tools in there, so I just took what I wanted since they obviously just left them. Another thing is this impact, this electric ratchet. This is probably the best tool that I own, and I paid $120 for it with the battery and charger, and it also came with this 1/4 inch adapter, and I love it, and it saves so much time when working on anything. This is my newest addition to my ratchet set. This is a 82 tooth gear wrench with the angled handle, so it just gives you a little more torque when you're doing spark plugs or any suspension components where you're behind the rotor. It just gives you that extra little torque. I really like it. It was $49. I believe I got it off of tooldiscounter.com. But yeah, definitely love it. This is a smaller one. It's a Husky flex head. Really like this wrench for more tighter spaces. This is probably my favorite wrench. Is a 1/4 inch 82 tooth gear wrench. It's really thin head, so it fits into really tight spots. They're all really thin head. That's something to look at when you're getting a wrench, that it's got a thin head. So that's why I like these gear wrench. Another must over here is a big flex head. This is another 82 tooth gear wrench. 1/2 inch, like a huge breaker bar. Definitely a must for suspension. Another tool I got for free out of that same shed was this breaker bar. I think it's an 18-inch breaker bar. I use it all the time for tires and heavy suspension components. If I feel like I might break this ratchet, which this is pretty strong, you know, that could probably take 300 or 400 foot-pounds of torque without breaking. I use the breaker bar for heavy stuff. Another thing was free is these little anchor mounts. I use them to plug transmission lines whenever I'm taking radiators out, so you don't spill transmission fluid everywhere. It's on the transmission lines. So definitely have this. If you don't have these, you can use spark plugs. Spark plugs work good. But spark plugs will get stuck in the tube when you stick them in the hose, and they're kind of hard to get out if you put them in too hard. Another thing, have a mirror so you can see in tight spots. RTV silicone for making gaskets. Definitely have a tube of that. A marker to mark things. Definitely have a Sharpie. Another thing, thread lock. They sell this at Harbor Freight for $2.50. The red and the blue. Definitely have some thread locker. Here's another blue thread locker from Home Depot, but that's $6 for just a little bit, so it's kind of pricey. Another thing is to have some fingernail polish, a bright color for doing timing belt marks, or whenever you're removing components and there's hoses going everywhere, brackets going in different spots on the head or the block, and you want to make sure you know where it goes. I need to do this, but I need to get more colors like neon green and orange and red. I need to have a whole row of different colors, so when I mark something, I know, okay, this hose I marked with neon green goes here. This hose is red, I mark it here. So that way it's cheap. It's only $1 a piece, you know, at like Dollar General or something like that, or Dollar Tree. So that's a good way to stay organized. So you're not putting a job back together and wondering where stuff goes because it's all marked. Another thing is have big 30. This is a 36 millimeter, 32 millimeter, 30 millimeters. This is for hub bolts and axle bolts. You're going to need some bigger stuff. This I don't really like, this long version. It's a oxygen sensor I got at Harbor Freight. I like the shorter versions, and now they have this like crowfoot design that's flex head that I'm going to get, and that will get into all the tight spots. Another thing to have is the Allen wrenches for your socket wrench. For taking off just random Allen bits is better than having the little L-shaped ones. E-torque, specialty bolts. We got the rounded off nut. Get rounded off nuts out. I don't really like this set from Harbor Freight. It doesn't work that good. I have an Irwin set that's better. Torx bits, definitely a must. As you can see, I like chrome better, so I put the impact sockets back there because I like the chrome better. They're thinner and they fit in better. But impacts are nice too. Another thing is impact screwdriver for getting off the screws to rotors. Definitely needed one of those. I got that out of that shed too for free, so that was cool. Tape measure I keep up here, definitely need that. Extensions, you need this little short extensions, come in really handy. I got a little stubby 1/2 inch. I used it the other day on a timing belt job. These little knuckles, these little flex knuckles to get into tight spots, that's a must. The ones from Harbor Freight are good. Definitely go with those. I got this little bristle brush for cleaning tight spots, screw holes that are rusted out. Definitely need that. Another thing that comes in really handy is different adapters, like 1/2 inch to 3/8. Right here, 3/8 to 1/4 inch. You never know when you're going to need a specialty socket and you only have one set. So that's good. Another thing is mix in your 12 points and your 6 point. Don't just buy one or the other. Mix them up. That way you have, you can mix it up. All right. And yeah, these flex heads, definitely get flex head wrenches. There's no point to have anything else. The old school, or they're no point. You're gonna need to flex this to get into tight spots. There's no working around it, or else you're gonna be wasting a lot of time. All right. Another thing is a good work light. Let me put this light on. This is the Astro 40 SL magnetic swivel. You can stick it anywhere. It's gonna stick. It's an awesome light. The battery life is only about 3 hours, but that's all of them. So for $47, you can't beat it. I definitely recommend it. And it charges with the USB port. Any Android charger is going to charge it. Okay, another must would be some metric wrenches. I'm about to replace these. These are old Craftsman. They're really good. I really like them, except for the heads are a little thick, so they don't get in the tightest spots. I'm going to replace, well, not replace them, but I'm going to get the long style double boxed end ratcheting flex head mountain wrenches by Mountain. They're $115. They've got really good reviews online, and they're actually made by the same people that make the Matco ones. So instead of spending $500, you can get them for $115. These, not so much. Yeah, you need something like this. This is a cheap Harbor Freight set. I don't really like them, but you never know when you're going to need those. Something that I use a lot are these big ones, these 1.25 inch to hold a suspension bolt still while you're torquing them, all from, let's see, 1.25 inch down to 7/8 I use all the time. So definitely have some standard too. So that's my wrench drawer. Torque wrench is a must. Tecton torque wrenches, they're the best. If you can afford it, get the flex head version. I don't have one, but you're going to need it to get into some tight spots. This one goes from 10 foot-pounds to 80 foot-pounds, so for lighter torquing. The heavier torquing, I got a Cobalt one. I was in a pinch and needed it. It goes from 50 to 250 foot-pounds. The only difference is the Cobalt doesn't have this loosening nut. This loosening nut allows you to switch the setting fast from 0 to 80. This one doesn't have it, so it's hard to spin, and it takes a while to adjust it. It's kind of annoying, but I still like the Cobalt. These little pick sets come in handy for removing hoses and different things. Definitely have some picks. These Harbor Freight ones are cheap and they'll break on you, so don't put a lot of pressure on them, but they're decent. I need to get a new pick set though. Flat tip screwdrivers are a must. Long ones, long skinny ones. Definitely have a bunch of different flat tips. These come in handy too, right? These goofy little flexi nut drivers. You never know when you're going to need to go around something. I have 2 versions. I also got this one in that shed. Who makes this? Made in the USA by Katie, and it's a really cool little screwdriver. So I love that thing. Never really use it, but you never know when you need it. Stubbies are a must. You never know you're gonna need a stubby. Here's another stubby for doing dashboards. Zip ties are a must. Regular Phillips screwdrivers are a must. Never have too many zip ties. Here are my throwaway wrenches, in case I need to get in a tight spot and put a breaker bar on something. I rarely use them, but I have them as backup. And I'm probably going to give some away. I got this little tiny snap-on. If I can get up to like 100 subscribers, I'm going to give away that one. This old SK, I'm going to give that away. This old, or it's not even old, this nice little Husky. It's a little 72 tooth with a detent. That's a nice wrench. This little flex head Tecton, brand new. I only used it like twice. Gonna give that away. This is another old Husky that was all rusted and I cleaned up. I'm gonna give that away, so that's nice. And I might even give away this old snap-on right here from like 1960 something. That was really rusted. This was so rusted, and now it's like brand new. So that'll be something to look forward to. So y'all help me out, get some subscribers. Breaker bars are a must. This is a cheap one from Harbor Freight, and they're kind of flimsy. I would definitely go with a better breaker bar. Walmart had some the other day that were like, they were pretty tough. I don't know, for like $10 I about got one. And I went back to get them and they were sold out. Some drill bits. Impact drill. This will save your ass working on suspension and stuff. Once you get something loose, because I don't have a good air compressor right now. I don't have any air tools. But this was $150 from Home Depot. It came with the impact driver and the drill, 2 batteries, and a charger for $150. Lifetime warranty on the batteries and the brushes. So people hate on the rigids because they're made in China, but their quality, it goes up to 165 foot-pounds. That's way stronger than the DeWalt. It's like double the DeWalt. And guess what? The Milwaukee right here that everyone loves, that's the best tool ever. It's Chinese, and it's great, so don't hate on it. Drill adapters, different screwdrivers, Torx bits, and stuff like that. I got that kit at Harbor Freight again. Really good kit for $10. Can't complain. This right here is a Toyota crank pulley holder. I have used it in another video. It was like $60. I think it's a lot by Lyle, but it's worth the $60. It's going to help you not screw up a head on a motor when you're messing with the crank. Alright, pliers are a must. Needle nose pliers. Perfect for holding ball joints. Perfect for holding tie rod ends when you're loosening them. Perfect for holding hood struts for blown out hoods when you open the hood on a car. A good, decent pairs of regular vice grips. Definitely need them. Hose pliers for pulling off hoses. Definitely need those. Different 3 types. These are my most used. These angled ones right here. These are my most used. There's cheap ones from Harbor Freight, but they're good. These straight edge, I use them all the time. Oil wrench, use it all the time. You gotta have that style oil wrench. If you don't have that style oil wrench, you're a noob. Right here, we got the panel popper. Harbor Freight, $15. Can't complain. Love them. Here we go, bolt cutters. Cutting wire, cutting cables to batteries, cutting locks or whatever. You gotta have some bolt cutters. Good pair of channel locks. This is from Cobalt. They're decent. Use them all the time for holding fans when you're pulling off clutch fans. A file. We got different pairs of pliers here. Love them. These are old style, but I love them. Use them all the time. This was something I invested in. It was like 25 or $30. Reversible snap ring pliers with the long tip, right? Because sometimes when you say you're doing a clutch on an AC compressor, you got to get in there and get that snap ring. It's really deep. So those little cheap ones from Harbor Freight aren't going to work. Tecton makes some really good snap ring pliers too if you want some that aren't those. These are from Harbor Freight too, some wire cutters, love them. This is an old set of wiring cutters from Japan. I like those a lot. I put a clear coat on them because they're rusted. Bristle brush, love that. Use it all the time. A regular $2 razor blade. Use it all the time, and they're the best. They're the best to me. A cheap pair of scissors. Use it all the time. Stronger set of scissors. Don't really use them that much. These little razor blade scrapers. Use these all the time for cleaning gasket surfaces, heads, valve covers. Use them all the time. Got extra razors. Got that style and the square style. Old pipe wrench, monkey wrench, right? Use that all the time for getting fittings off. We got some shears right there. Don't really use those that much. Down here we got an electric drawer. Multimeter, use that all the time. Soldering iron, I use the gas powered one by OEM Tools for 25 bucks. Use that all the time. Shrink wrap, all the time. Test light, use that all the time. Gloves, gotta have some good gloves. Use those all the time. The 7 mils from Harbor Freight are the best to me. They run a little small, so you get a bigger size than you'd think. Silicone grease, use this all the time for glide pins on or slide pins on brake calipers. Any type of rubber that you want to lubricate, because it won't mess up rubber. Silicone will work good with the rubber. What else? We need black electrical tape, regular clear tape, thread tape. Use it all the time. Different wiring crimpers and strippers. These are from Harbor Freight, and I really like them. They're good. $5. If you don't want to solder, use these shrinkable butt connectors. They're weatherproof, so that's good. Bristle brushes for cleaning carpets, cleaning car parts, whatever. Have you some brushes, some metal wire spool for holding up brake calipers out of the way when you're working on brakes, or for fixing the undercarriage on people's cars, like the plastics broke off. Sometimes it's the only way to fix it with some wiring, unless they want to buy a new plastic cover. Pipe cutters, you never know when you're going to have to cut some pipe. I got 2 pairs of those. Got those out of that shed for free. Right here, a bunch of more free stuff. Chisels, center punches. This big bolt for U-joints, you're going to need a big bolt, because it's not wise to do U-joints with a press. You're going to bend the yoke, and you're going to end up costing yourself more than what you charge someone to do the U-joints. Use this bolt, and to get those stuck U-joints, if you're working on them, they're really rusted, mix some transmission fluid with some acetone. Over there I got a big jar of acetone, and it will get the rust out. Allen wrenches come in handy. Big old thing I never see. Anti-seize, definitely need that. Different brushes for cleaning, definitely need plastic, steel, brass, more brass. You're always gonna need that. Hacksaw with a good blade. Level, right angle. We got a rubber mallet, I use that all the time. This little sledge, I use it all the time. That's from Harbor Freight, $8. It's just a hammer. You don't have to buy snap-on hammers. Another big sledge my friend gave me. Don't use it that much, but when I need it, it comes in handy. Like U-joints. Ball peen hammer, use it all the time. Small one, use it all the time. A smaller hacksaw, use that quite a bit. Scraping tools, use those all the time for cleaning mating surfaces. In the last drawer, propane torch for heating up exhaust. I need to get some MAP gas, but heating up exhaust. What else have I used that for? I don't know. We got some glass cleaner for window tint. So you mess a customer's car up, you can clean it off. Different types of sandpaper, rough, smooth, wet sanding. So cleaning surfaces, you can use the sandpaper that's like really fine if you want to make it really clean. That's just a jar right here of some refrigerant I got extra laying around. Don't use refrigerant with the sealant in it, you'll ruin your AC system. Funnels, these are from Harbor Freight, use them all the time. The small ones are good for filling up transmission fluid. $5 can of propane for my propane torch, or my propane soldering gun. Right here we got just a 3-jaw puller. I don't really like it that much. they're kind of a pain in the ass to use. So get a 2-jaw puller. If you're gonna buy one, get a 2-jaw puller, and you'll thank me later. They're way easier to use. That right here is a little kit for getting off fuel lines. Nice little kit. Pitman arm puller. This isn't the best kind because this opening is a little wide, but it works and it's good for tie rods and stuff like that. Instead of, some mechanics will just, to get a tie rod off, they'll bash the spindle with a hammer to get it loose, but I don't agree. You shouldn't be busting on people's car like that when you can just use this just as easily. Hit it with the impact, pops right out, no problem. Some wax cleaner, little bolt set from Harbor Freight in case you need extra bolts. Compression kit, just a little compression kit. It only has 2 adapters, but for what I need it for, it's good enough. It works on most vehicles. Cotter pins for when you're doing suspension stuff. When you have to bust a cotter pin off a control arm or something, always replace it with a new one, I think anyways. Here you go is a little kit of hose clamps. Definitely need that from Harbor Freight again. Some drill bits. These are pretty good. They're not so good with drilling through thick metal. If you want drill bits that drill through thick metal, get the black bits. They're called cobalt bits. They're way stronger metal. Cut through like butter. A bunch of relays. If you have to change a fuse box on a car, save all the relays out of it. All these extra connectors, electrical stuff. So now I got a bunch of Toyota relays. This is awesome. This has saved my butt a few times now. This is a little... Oh, I'm trying to open this without messing the video up. Anyways, it's just a big O-ring kit. It's got all different types of metric O-rings. I use this quite a bit. Right here is your compressor for your brake calipers to compress them instead of using like a C-clamp or something. Got that one at Harbor Freight. You don't need nothing fancy. Or for specialty brakes like on Fords, some Fords and Nissans, the back brakes you have to screw them in either clockwise or counterclockwise. They don't press in, so you're gonna have to have that. So that's a must. Another must is a big C-clamp. See that big C-clamp down there? Definitely need that. You always need a big C-clamp. Here's the other drill that came with my kit. Right now I got this little wire brush on there for cleaning up threads. And yeah, that's about it. Another thing I really like is, let's see, get some light. That little octopus looking thing right here. That's for, it's got a jack built into it. It's a 3-jaw puller for pulling off rotors that are rusted to the car. Definitely need something like that. Harbor Freight, it's like $50. Definitely worth it. Right here is a steering wheel puller kit. I use it to pull crank pulleys. It works better to me. Down here, this box is tap and die set. Definitely need a good tap and die set. Definitely need 2 jacks, low profile jacks from Harbor Freight, the $80 ones. They work awesome. 3-ton. And here's a breaker bar. So right here, this handle. If you ever need a breaker bar on a wrench and something's too tight, just unscrew that screw right here and pull this off, and you got a breaker bar. 2 jacks, and you get 2 more. We definitely have 4 jacks, and get the tall ones. Don't get the little shitty cheap ones because they don't lift the tires up very well. And here's the last of the video. Bolts and nuts and stuff. If you go to the salvage yard, pull off extra screws and nuts and bolts and stuff like that off the car. So I got a bunch of Honda and Toyota screws and washers, so it's all free hardware. You know what I'm saying? Just stick it in your pocket, right? You don't have to pay for that shit. So yeah, definitely keep that extra. I always go through and use those bolts and stuff when I'm working on something. Another thing is you need a tray to work on. This is an OEM Tools tool tray. Any tool tray will work, but that comes in really handy when I'm working on stuff, so I don't have to waste time running back and forth to the toolbox. I just put all my stuff up here that I need. Hand cleaner, definitely a must. Degreaser and a spray bottle, definitely a must. A bunch of these blue shop racks for cleaning stuff, definitely a must. WD-40. WD-40 with the spray bottle top. It lasts way longer than the aerosol can because this stuff gets expensive after a while at $9 a bottle. So definitely get the spray version. Another thing to save, if you're doing vacuum lines or fuel lines and stuff like that, save all the little bits. of fuel line, because you never know when you're going to need some. So definitely don't throw shit away. Also, don't throw car parts away. If you work on someone's car and you're changing water pump and time belt and stuff like that, save your parts, because you're always going to, if something breaks, sometimes brand new parts will break for no reason and you're shit out of luck. So if you got one of the old parts that's still good and you're confident that you can put it back on there with nothing happening, at least for the time being, so they have a vehicle to drive, save the old parts, you know what I mean? I've got old clutches and stuff hanging up over there, and yeah, it's saved me so many times. But yeah, that's it. Give me a like. Give me some subscribers. I think I only have like 9 subscribers right now. And if we get up to like I said, 100, I'm gonna give away some wrenches. So that'd be awesome. But yeah, y'all have a good day, and I'll see y'all later. Yeah, this video has been kind of long, but I wanted to make a detailed one. So hopefully y'all enjoyed it, and y'all take it easy. Peace.